Hey, I'm James from Bar-A-BBQ, and as you can tell, I've got a brand new toy to play with, and we are going to get a chance to play with this today. We're actually gonna do three things. First, I'm gonna go over what exactly this grill is, because it can do a number of things that may surprise you. Two, I'm gonna go over why I picked this up to replace my Santa Maria style grill. And of course, we're going to do a break and burn and cook. And we're actually going to start with the cook. Since when I was in Texas and I was visiting Cooper from Bar-A-BBQ, who has since made Texas Monthly's top 50 joint, one of the favorite bites that I had was actually his backyard style barbecue chicken, and the tool that he cooked it on is what kicked this whole journey off. But I want to get a little mini dry brine on some chicken before filling in all the details and answering our first two questions. So let me meet you over in the kitchen. We'll get our chicken prepped and I can spill the beans on how and what this is and why I picked it up. Let's get started. Okay, so let's get to work on prepping our chickens. I'm gonna go for exactly the method that Cooper from Bar-A-BBQ showed me when I was visiting him in Texas earlier this year. And we can get back to the fun stuff, checking out the new grill. So we're gonna prep our chickens in half. So show you one at regular speed, and then we'll take you fast forward for the rest. But to start, how I like to do that is just cut along the backbone. Sharp knife helps with that. And when I'm doing a regular spatchcock chicken, I do like to spend a little bit more time on the rib cage and deboning all of that. But I find that you lose a little bit of structure when we go for that setup versus keeping some of that cartilage and a rib cage intact. Perfect. Nice clean cut, so that looks good. I'll take you fast forward while I do the exact same thing to the next few chickens here. Next, I'm gonna use my pepper cannon and crack some fresh black pepper all over our chickens here. I have it about 23 clicks from the finest setting, which works out to about a 16 mesh. So if you're following along using one of these and you want 16 mesh black pepper, about 23 clicks from the finest setting is where I have mine set at for most of my rubs and recipes, including today. Next up is some seasoning salt. Cooper uses Rio. I've tried Fiesta as well as Lowry's. They're all very similar, so if there's one that's easier to find versus importing or shipping across the country, seasoning salt is what we're after here. And if you can't find any of these, I have a do-it-yourself recipe on the website to create a copycat version of Lowry's. But we'll just give these a nice coating across the bottom, and we'll flip and repeat. And into the refrigerator for an accelerated dry brine. I'll get you back to the action in just a minute, but first, thanks Dalstrong for sponsoring today's video. You guys know how much I care about doing things right, whether that's sharing tips, techniques, and or finding the best tools for the job. So when it comes to knives, my go-to is Dalstrong. They're razor sharp, super reliable, but more than that, they feel incredible to use. So many tools today feel cold and clinical. Not these. With Dalstrong, you get more than sharpness and durability. You get that incredible design and that special spark that makes you want to use them again and again and again. A big thanks to Dalstrong for sponsoring today's video. Use the link down below to save 10% on your next order on anything on the Dalstrong.com website. Thanks again, Dalstrong, for sponsoring today's video. Now, back to the action. So why exactly am I blaming Cooper from Bar-A-BBQ for going down the rabbit hole that eventually led to this new grill sitting behind me? Well, when I was at Bar-A-BBQ and had a chance to cook and see Cooper cook on his Low Country direct heat cooker, I absolutely loved the experience, but more importantly, I love the food. There's just something that hits different about direct heat, and I know that from even experiencing my own Santa Maria grill, and the fact that there was a little bit more efficiency with some coverage versus losing all of that heat to the atmosphere immediately had me interested. That was until I got home and I Googled his unit and I saw the price is $13,500. So that is a little bit out of my snack bracket. Now they do make smaller units from going down from 6 feet to 3 foot size, along with a whole bunch of other people make direct heat cookers. So not an inclusive list of absolutely exhausting all the options, but Pits and Spits, Chud Box, of course Lone Star grills and their 48-inch grill that you see behind me, but none of them, when I did the sort of value calculation of, you know, cost per square inch, had the same value as the Lone Star grills. And since I've already had an amazing experience with my Santa Maria, with Chris and the team, and also had a chance to meet and speak to many of them when I was there doing a Behind the Smokers episode, not only the value, but the team and the quality of the product already sold. And so this rose to the top of my shopping list. But I haven't yet answered the question, what exactly is it? The name rolls off the tongue. We've got the 48 by 24 inch adjustable charcoal grill. What does that exactly mean? So that reminds me way back when, nearly 20 years ago, when Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone and was introducing it as an iPod, a phone, as well as an internet communicator device. It's these three things all in one. This sort of analogy is true of the adjustable charcoal grill. It's a offset smoker. We can load up fire on one side and vent the air out to the other side and get sort of that pull over draw. It's a vertical smoker. We've got lots of space to go directly above, as well as being a direct heat cooker with lots of adjustments in terms of the height of where we place that fire sitting directly below our food. And I didn't find anything in my research that has the amount of versatility and options as the Lone Star Grill's 48-inch adjustable charcoal grill does. Still a mouthful, but I know some of you might be wondering what exactly is it, and I would oversimplify it as combining offset functionality, vertical smoker functionality, as well as direct heat cooking. So now that you know what it is, why did I want to pick this up over what I already have in my Santa Maria? If you were there for my very first video and cook on the Lone Star Grill's Santa Maria, you remember that I picked this up for a very specific reason, which is I have this dream, a vision, I'm still working on it with Sarah, that I'll get one of these amazing barbecue trailer rigs where we've got an offset smoker, and I see so many optioned with a Santa Maria grill, which is new to me, or it was a year and a half ago before I got this. I was curious if this is something that I would option for myself, and I thought I would start with a much more budget-friendly backyard option versus doing the full Monty without having any experience on a Santa Maria grill. And I am so glad that I did, as I discovered three massive benefits and maybe three holdbacks that have been a part of what has led to this decision. So starting with the benefits, you've heard me say this many times, so fuel is flavor. The more that we can burn, the more flavor that we can impart on our food, and this could not be more true than on the Santa Maria grill. Whether I was doing a rotisserie hog, turkey, picanha, chicken, you name it, anything that I've cooked on here has been a 10 out of 10 for flavor. Our friends, family, myself included, no matter who it is, has had some food on this, absolutely loves it. And that leads into sort of the second benefit, which was an unintended or an unexpected one, which is this is a social barbecue party machine on wheels. You can roll it out to the front, do things with neighbors, have people over on the back, and or just directly serve your food right off the grill. This pulls people in more than any other tool that I've used in the past. And third is also some amazing capacity. While I'm blessed to have many tools and can solve this by firing up absolutely everything that I own, sometimes managing multiple fires on multiple different grills across multiple different categories, it's not the easiest thing, even for people with decades of experience. And so having something with more space, particularly for direct heat cooking, is one of the things that drew me to the Santa Maria grill in the first place. But along with some of those pros, there are a couple holdbacks that may or may not apply to you, but they definitely apply to me. So I'll start with the first and the obvious one, which is climate and location. So if you are in a cold or damp area, even though It's the middle of summer for us right now, and it's absolutely beautiful. This is but a blink of an eye before sort of reality returns. And this creates sort of two of my holdback problems. The first, we'll start with fuel is flavor. Well, that may be true in the summer months when it's enjoyable to be cooking and using this, but in the winter, spring, and fall, we are losing a ton of energy venting directly up to the atmosphere. And I've not had a cook cost me more for fuel than anything other than my Santa Maria grill. So unless you have a wood supply nearby, I would actually take a moment to think about that before diving into the world of a Santa Maria, as it is going to consume far more fuel than anything else in sort of the traditional barbecue alley, things like offset smokers, charcoal grills, or anything else like that. The second aspect of the climate is grill maintenance. And so even though I did opt for the upgraded cover, and I've said repeated in videos that I wish that I'd done the same thing as I've just done with the 48-inch charcoal, is go for those stainless steel upgrades. I should not have cheaped out on that, as even with the protection of a cover, those carbon steel grates love to rust in the cold, wet, and damp climate in the winter months. And so if you happen to live in a nice area like Texas or Phoenix or even anywhere further down south, this may not be an issue for you. But if you are sort of in a climate where you occasionally see some snow in the winter, this is either an upgrade and or a consideration that I would take very seriously. And the last one, this is nitpicking, but is an honest reality, is nothing that I've cooked on gets you closer to the fire than a Santa Maria grill. And this can both be a good thing in that cold weather, but also in the dead of summer, it can be excruciating hot tending to your food. And I'm out joking here a little bit, but it's almost tend to your food, fall in the pool just to cool off, and repeat that cycle as your cook goes on. And so since it is a live fire and you're getting all the benefits that go with that, you are also fully involved with that live fire, more so than anything else. So as you can tell, I think there is a lot exciting about this grill, and I think it's going to address sort of some of the cons, if you will call them that, of my Santa Maria style grill in terms of cooking, where we get a little bit more inefficiency since we can retain some of that. You see things like gasket, as well as double insulated fireboxes, as well as thick 304 stainless steel gauge metal on the hood. So we solve some of the efficiency. We keep, I believe, the social aspect. So this is on wheels. I can move it around. One of the other benefits that this will also solve for me is I can fit it in my shed. So when we're not having it out here and cooking, this will actually fit in underneath the charcoal storage. So that opens up, again, another benefit of not having it sit in your yard when you're not using it, which will even make maintaining inside and outside that much easier. Social capabilities, like I said, going in the front, the back, anywhere, as well as large capacity. So I think we keep some of the pros. I think we mitigate and minimize some of the small cons or nitpicks, but enough about that. Let's go through the quick overview of the 3 different use cases that you could have for a grill that could be a little bit of everything. So starting with an offset smoker. So this doesn't have the firebox off to the side in a way you would think. It's an offset smoker, but I'm actually optimistic about that, and I've already bought a brisket to try it. Let me know down in the comments if there's other things that you would like to see in an offset smoker test, but I already have the brisket in the fridge, and that I hope will be my next video on this grill, is actually putting it through its paces as an offset smoker, because we have 2 fully independent fireboxes, both with their own independent controlled air intake dampers, as well as vents on the top. And so if you've got some experience with anything ranging starting from a Weber kettle up to an offset, the ability to turn this into an offset is quite simple, where we would close the top damper on the left, open the bottom draft door on the left, and then open the top vent on the right and close the bottom air intake on the right. And we'll get sort of that left to right, or vice versa, airflow throughout the cook chamber, and get a true offset experience. There's also heavy gauge stainless steel all the way through. So all the metal components, nuts, bolts, as well as the fire grates are 304 stainless steel heavy gauge. So we can run a live fire, everything from charcoal to a live fire directly in the firebox. But I did opt for two accessories that Chris and Lone Star Grills make. First, the charcoal basket to sort of be able to load this up and go for an overnight cook without having to add any extra charcoal. That's something that I'm excited to try, as well as their fire management basket, which is, again, a little bit overkill, not necessarily needed, but it helps contain our logs in a smaller, tighter bundle so we can maintain our coal bed and continue to get maximum efficiency out of running a live fire. But you can, by all means, run a live fire in here. And the fireboxes are full dual wall insulated, so there should be some good efficiency, something we'll find out once we get a couple cooks under the belt. Each firebox is on an independent control in terms of being able to go up and down. So we have about 16 inches from the bottom to the top of the firebox, and almost 12 of those are adjustable in terms of using the cool arm levers that I added here to be able to raise and lower that fire, which brings us into sort of the direct grilling mode. But before I forget, I should also mention there is a fully insulated baffle between the two fireboxes, as well as dual wall insulation on the side. So we're not getting air drafting in through the opening that you see here with the adjustable lever. That's all completely closed off to the outside. And I think Chris and the Lone Star team have done a really nice job on the details of these. If you ever get a chance to go visit their shop, or you find these anywhere, seeing them in person is just so confidence inspiring when you're making an investment in a grill of this quality and caliber. You can see some of those little details, like making sure the air is not drafting in through the adjustable levers or things like that. They do an outstanding job. So back to the now second use case, which is as a direct heat cooker. And so we could do one of two things. We could use sort of just one side and burn both sides, where I want to maintain that party mobile on the road show. So whether it's in the backyard, the front yard, or wherever it is that we may be grilling, get 48 inches of real estate. That's an absolute ton of space. And like I did that sort of rotisserie pig on the Santa Maria, that's 48 inches, but it's a little bit larger both in size because we have the bracero on the side, as well as the taller basket for the rotisserie and the wheel on the Santa Maria, which is what makes it a challenge to fit in most sheds. But if I wanted to, I could absolutely do a whole hog in here, as I have the 48 inches of space left to right, and could run each of them independently on each firebox. And then last but not least is the vertical smoker capability. And this is where you start to see the massive clearance difference of 8 inches from the low cooking grid position to the high grid position. And so to put that in context, like what you absolutely need, well, I know what is too little. I haven't yet found what is too much. So a lot of grills have multiple levels, and it's no big deal if you're fitting things like ribs. But if you do something like pork shoulders, even smaller ones in the 5 to 8 pounds, I learned a year or two ago when I was doing multiple ones of those on one of my Kamado grills, and there wasn't enough clearance on the factory divide and conquer rack system to be able to place those pork shoulders underneath the raised rack. And I used foil balls to prop it up to gain an extra couple inches to make sure that I could actually fit those pork shoulders on the low level and the upper level. So that was about 5 inches where I ran into that issue. This is 8 inches, so I don't anticipate any problems with the extra height clearance. And so this is, again, where we could either be going in an offset configuration and pulling that heat and trying to get more radiant energy from high up in the grill and not have a heat source directly below it, or we could go for pure vertical smoking and put the fire all the way down at the bottom, our food all the way up at the top, and make sure that we've got lots of clearance and still get the benefit of those drippings falling down onto the charcoal or the wood or whatever we may be cooking. So that has me all excited and fired up for today's cook. So now that you know what it is, what led to the decision to get it, as well as a quick overview of some of the features and what makes a grill that can do it all fit into its 3 most common use cases, let's get ready to fire it up. For our main run, I'm gonna opt for the fire basket. And I'm gonna add a bed of charcoal, light that up, and switch to real wood splits just to see how we do. Get any learnings before risking our brisket. Let's add some fuego. Grab my grill gun, fire it up. Let that build some heat. So I do have a few splits. This is actually a real post oak, so I'm gonna get that warming up, just get some of the humidity out of it so we get nice clean combustion. Add that into my firebox. Close this up, give it some air, and we'll make our adjustments once we start to see where we're landing from a temperature perspective. Okay, our 3 chickens have been on for just about 45 minutes now, and so far I am not only having a ton of fun, but I've also already had a chance to validate one of my first concerns, as I have just now, at the 45-minute mark, added the second wood split that we added in at the beginning. So far, I am on stick number 2. Compared to open fire cooking, we would have gone through about 8, 9, 10 times that in the same amount of time. And so the efficiency is already one I'm starting to feel better about. The taste test, we won't know until a little bit later on, but I've got a good feeling about that. So our game plan, as you can see in the meter chart, we're tracking along between about 230 and 240 degrees Fahrenheit. And this, if I follow sort of the exact method on Cooper's cooker at Bar-A-BBQ, was about an hour and a half. And so far it looks like we are pacing for that, as we're about 45 minutes in. And just before I took a screen grab of the meter, it said there was just over 50 minutes, but it's about pacing to a 90-minute cook until our chicken is completely done. Even though I set it for 150 degrees Fahrenheit though, I am going to deviate from the plan a little bit and keep an eye on this when we get close to about 140 degrees internal temperature. And this is where I'm going to go from our indirect side to directly over our coal. So I'm hoping that I've timed the second split right, that we've got a smaller coal bed and we can start to crisp up the skin going upside down. And then last but not least, we're gonna hit it with Cooper's very own Bar-A-BBQ rib glaze. This was absolutely amazing on chicken. He shares the full recipe and updated for 2025 on his website. He sells that. So I'm not going to give away the book that I purchased, but I will share one that he posted last year. And it is going to be a great start. It's very similar. I made both side by side, and while I definitely would say, why don't you spend a couple bucks, support Cooper and everything that he's doing as a thank you, but this recipe that he's shared for free is a great place to start, and all the more reason I think you'll be inspired to go and buy the full version for yourself. So let's go over to the kitchen, prep up our rib glaze, and by the time that that's all set, we'll be ready to flip our chickens upside down, give them 10-15 minutes to crisp up that skin. We'll add our rib glaze, let those tack up back on the cool or the indirect side, and we'll be ready to dive in for our taste test. So I've scaled this recipe down to make just over 1 liter. So let's get started with our ketchup. We're gonna do 1.25 cups of ketchup. Third cup brown sugar. Third cup white sugar. 2/3 cup honey or maple syrup, which is one of the additions that I suggested to Cooper, and he tried and actually included it on his video of pork belly burnt ends on his channel. It's really good. Also mixes a little bit easier than honey. Apple cider vinegar. Another 1/3 cup, but of white vinegar. 1/3 cup of water. 1/3 cup of wash your sister sauce, as they called it in Texas. 2 teaspoons black pepper. I've already cracked some up with my pepper cannon. 2 teaspoons of cumin. And lastly, the same amount, another 2 teaspoons of onion and garlic. Mix that up. We're ready. I just took a look with the infrared camera and I saw exactly what I hope to see, which is that offset heat pattern going from left to right where you see all that energy on the left side of our firebox, and then a cool zone over where our chickens are. Since I only have one probe installed, I'm going to just start probing a couple of our other chicken breasts, make sure everything's cooking nice and even. And those 3 are nearly identical with the one closest to the fire, just a few degrees ahead. So I'll take you fast forward while I rotate those around. These are nearly ready to go skin side down, and I'm not concerned about that second split from burning quite aggressively now, since I actually want that just to be a coal bed when we do put the chickens over top of that, because that is way too much flame. So kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, those are looking good. Get back to cooking. So we still have a little bit too much BTU from the wood, so I'm just gonna open that up, and instead of going directly above that flame, which would absolutely torch our chickens, I'm gonna take advantage of our height, move our chickens over, and then slow that fire down just to finish crisping up that skin. But before I do that, get a look at how we're doing so far. Nice smoke, that is already feeling crispy. So I'm just gonna give it a few more minutes upside down, and we'll be back on the other side for our glaze. Take you fast forward. Okay, so after about 5 minutes, actually, I moved things over since our skin got crispy nice and quick, since I still have a little bit too much energy in that second stick. So I'm gonna go ahead now and hit these with our rib glaze. Since we're about 20 minutes or so out from being done, I wanna give this some time to tack up. So we'll just spray some of this on. This is the rib glaze diluted with about a 1/3 cup of water. So it's just a little bit thinner than the normal rib glaze. Good, let those finish up. So I've held back one of our chickens. Sarah inside is helping me break down the other 5, but these look incredible. I don't know if juices are coming through on camera or not, but these are incredibly juicy. Take it fast forward while I get a couple sample pieces here. Well, the wait is over. I've got a couple slices and everything else is aside being broken down, getting ready for dinner, but not before we find out how we did on our maiden voyage. These certainly look good. Cheers. I know on YouTube you can say whatever you want, but I'm hoping the truth comes through here loud and clear on camera in terms of the juiciness, the color, the texture, and the smoke. We had nice open flames the entire time, and I'm pretty happy with that as my maiden voyage. I've always found your first cook is never your best, so this is our starting point. We are in for a treat. Be sure to let me know down in the comments what else you would like to see us cook. I do have that brisket ready to go in the fridge, but if there's something else that you would love to see as cook number 2 before doing that, let me know down in the comments. That's it for today. I'm James from Smoky Dad Barbecue signing off. Remember, don't be afraid to fire it up. Seriously, this is even the white part of the chicken. So good. Amazing.